Hello there. Well, remember this radio? If you've seen the last video, I managed to obtain the CPS for it, the programming software. Overall, I think it's fair to say I wasn't too impressed with this. This is the Baofeng AD20. My first video on it is there in the background. I'll leave a link to the second video where I've shown you the CPS. Managed to get a copy of it, and that wasn't that easy to do. But the problem with this radio is it claims to be digital, and it is transmitting some kind of digital mode, but I don't know what mode. I've got nothing that will decode this. It's definitely not DMR. It won't even, in the CPS, you can't even get a DMR, you know, a 7-digit DMR ID in it. It just doesn't work. My DMR radios, none of them hear this. This hears none of my DMR radios. It's not NXDN. It's definitely not D-Star. It's not Fusion. It's not M17. We've had a number of suggestions and comments for this. None of those. It's possibly DPMR. I don't have anything that will receive or decode DPMR. I did find online a digital sample of what DPMR sounds like when you listen to it on an FM, in the FM mode. This doesn't sound like that, and I'll try and put that little clip at the end of this video and you can see for yourselves. But nevertheless, at the end of the last video, I said really the only point of these things is if you had two of them. Because with two of them, in the digital mode, whatever mode it is, you're very unlikely that anyone else could listen to that conversation, because most radios simply don't decode whatever mode digitally this transmits, okay? You've also got an additional layer. If you wish, you can add encryption on these radios. So you can encrypt your digital transmission, although I don't think you'd need to for the reasons I've just stated. Encryption, last time I looked, I've said this before, in the UK, it's not legal on the amateur bands. But there's nothing to stop you transmitting this in the open, so to speak, digitally, because it's not encrypted. Nobody else will be able to hear you. So you'll have to make sure whoever you want to talk to has got another one of these. That's the purpose of these. I think if you want, it's not really as we'd see it an amateur radio purpose. If you want a small group of people to be able to have private conversations, these are the radios for you. Okay, you can program them up, channels of your choice. Obviously they'll work, if you're in UK or Europe, they'll work on the 446, the license-free band. Interestingly enough, and this question has been asked of our licensing authority in the UK, Ofcom, interestingly enough, encryption is not illegal on 446, right? But of course this radio, not strictly speaking, this radio would not be legal to use on 446, but nobody really cares. You can use anything on 446, you're not going to get a problem. So if that's what you want to do, a couple of these maybe, and you've got your own private communication system. And as I say, you can encrypt it on top of the digital mode if you wish. I've now got another one of these, as you've probably guessed from what I'm saying. I've got another one of these. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into the CPS and I'm going to program a very basic code plug in both of these radios, couple of channels. I'm going to give this one a number, an identification number, and this one, so they can message each other. I'm going to show you how these both sound in digital mode. I'll take one of them out, and Daisy the dog and I will go for a little walk, and we'll speak back to the other one, back in the shack. And I'll also show you the messaging system. These radios have the ability to send text messages to each other. And the texting, I've had a quick look at it, a quick play with it, very much like texting on the old mobile phones before we had touch screens. You just use the keypad and you can send text messages, okay, direct to the other radio. Very, very useful, I reckon. I really like that feature. Again, you know, the criticisms that I had initially of this radio, they still stand. The battery life is pretty poor. The CPS isn't very good. We'll have another look at it, and I'll show you how I'm going to set these two radios up so I can use them and so I can demo them. They're cheap enough, as always. Direct from China, you're looking at under 30 UK pounds for one of these. So if you've got a purpose for it, you want a relatively short range private communication system, maybe this could be the radio for you. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the CPS again. I'll show you how I'm going to program these radios, and then we'll see how they sound on FM to each other, how they sound on digital mode, and we'll send and receive a couple of text messages. And I'll also show you the record facility. This radio can record transmissions received in digital mode. It'll record them, and then you can play them back at your leisure from the radio. There may be a way of reading them from the radio and downloading them. I don't know. When we look at the CPS, we'll see if that facility is there, but you can certainly play them back on the radio. Let's have a look at the CPS, and then let's have a look at these radios in action in the digital mode. Here we are then with the CPS software open. I've got the newest of the two radios hooked up to the computer. This one only arrived here a couple of days ago, so I haven't looked at the programming of it or anything. So it's as it's come from the supplier. First thing I'm going to do is read from the radio. I know it's on COM3, I checked that earlier on my device manager. So COM3, let's read. Okay, that's the radio read. Let's have a look at some of the information we've now got. Device information, no serial number, BF AD20. So no real model number or anything on there. It's got a timestamp of last year, June last year, 2406. I don't know when that was, last date of when it was programmed. So that was the factory programming, I guess. Basic configuration information. Radio name, radio ID. We'll see that's as it's come from the supplier. We're going to change this. We might as well start off as we mean to go on. I'm just going to call this radio for, you can call it whatever you want, obviously, but I'm going to call it remote. I'm going to call the other one base. And I'm going to give it an ID of, let's give an ID of 2, I think, number 2. You can't put a DMR ID in here, by the way. It won't take the 7-digit field. If you do, let's see if I can demo it for you. Put a DMR ID in there. Can you see? Changes it back straight away because it won't take the 7 digits. So it's not a DMR radio anyway. But there you go. Just to so we're going to call that number 2. We leave these settings, I think, alone. Don't seem to be any major issues. The companding, I don't know whether, now that's some kind of processing. I'm not sure whether it's on transmit or receive. If it's on transmit, it'll probably mess the audio up, and probably if it's on receive, it'll do the same thing. So we'll uncheck that box. And we'll just have it transmitting, as per normal. Right, zones, there's an analog zone and a digital zone. So, right, fast message. Now, okay, I don't know what fast message is. Is that a text message or what? Don't know. We'll come back to that. Contacts, okay. Now then, we're only going to need one contact. This is radio 2, isn't it? We're only going to need one contact here, which is going to be the base radio. So I'm going to put that in there. As you can see, it's come pre-programmed with some Chinese language contacts. The contact's going to be base. It can be a private call. We're not in a group here. And base radio is going to be code 1. It defaults to 1 anyway. So we leave that as a private call. Okay. We will now see if we can delete that one. Okay, we don't want these, God knows what these are, so we'll just get rid of them. They're not required. Just make things simpler when it comes to operating the radio. So you don't want to see me keep doing this. So I'll speed this part up. Okay, so we've just got that one contact. That's all we need. Scan list, we're not going to worry about at the moment. Now channels, I'm going to try and keep this simple. These are the pre-programmed channels that the radio has come to me with from the supplier. You see they're a mixture of digital and analog channels. They're primarily UHF, aren't they? But they're all over the place. Some are in the amateur band, some are not. But what I'm going to do, I just want one analog channel and one digital channel. So, and I'll replicate that on the other radio to a large extent anyway. Right, so I'm going to I'm going to edit these. And we'll have the analog. Let's have it on VHF 2 meters, shall we? I'll have that on 145.425. And the same there, 145.425. 25k spacing, well, it should be 12k really, shouldn't it, in the UK? The audio, now whether this affects the transmit bandwidth, I don't know. I'm going to put it to 25 because on the other one, when I monitored the first one I had, the audio sounded a bit narrow and thin, so I'm going to stick that on 25. I know it's 12.5 in the UK, okay, but I'm going to put it on 25. Auto scan, we're not going to worry about PTT signal type. We don't want CTCSS or anything like that on the analog channel. TX power, okay. Okay, that looks okay, doesn't it? So that's our analog channel, right. Digital channel, right. Let's edit that one up then. I'm going to put that on UHF, okay. So, we can actually, well, I'll just call it UHF. How many characters can we get in here? It's interesting, this, isn't it? It's going to take that on UHF test, okay. Right. Okay, and 433. That's a simplex FM channel in the UK. Where I am, I'm down in a valley. I'm not going to disturb anyone using a handheld with a rubber ducky. So, although I'll be transmitting this mode, which isn't DMR, but there you are. Right, auto scan enable. TX power we'll have as high. Polite. I don't know. Do we need to be polite? Let's take it off. Receive group 1. Okay, we'll leave that there. Now we set a contact in this channel. Okay, so we're going to call it base alarm system none, whatever that is. Direct TDMA, no idea. Let's leave it blank. Slot 1, color code 0. Let's put a color code 1. We might remember to set the other radio up the same. We don't need any of these things. Talk around. No, okay, let's do that channel there. Right, okay. So that is our 2 channels programmed. Let's have a little look at DMR. No, I know we need to do a zone. And I'll come back to the zone in a moment. Let me just have a look at DMR settings. Is there anything in there we need to alter? Really think there's anything that's going to cause us any problems there. Message format, channels, we've got scan lists. Okay, contacts, that looks okay. Can't seem, let's create a new, okay. Oh, it's a very short, that's what this is, you can have a very short message to send. So could I put, say, I don't know what the, location 1, I don't know, I could just send that, I guess. So we got those, so we got 3 short messages we can send. I don't know what the limit is on the text field there, it's not clear. Let's make a zone, analog zone. So the analog zone, we've got the analog channel in there, looks okay. The digital zone, right. Optional channel, digital zone. That's okay, isn't it? UHF, yeah, okay. So it's automatically, that's not bad actually. It's automatically put those channels in the zones for us. So that's okay. We've got our zones. What else do we need? Basic configurations we've looked at. That looks to be okay. So I did want to set the dual watch on this. Dual standby, there it is. Double, I guess. Okay, double. That should be okay. So I wanted to be able to monitor both channels when we remote. Okay, that looks to be, I think, where we want it. I don't think there's anything else. We've got those. We've got the channels. The key settings. Let's have a look. So side key 1, a long press, high low power, FM monitor. So I've obviously got a torch on these radios. You can FM is the broadcast FM radio, by the way. So is it 88 to 108 or 76 to 108? I can't remember which. If we didn't want to use that, these are the options we can set the programmable keys to. Record on off, test frequency. Okay, so I will leave those. We're not really too bothered. Let's write those to the radio. We know it's on COM 3, remember? So we'll put that on COM 3 and we'll just write that to the radio. 1 2 test GW0 KIG audio test 1 2 1 2 test 1 2 test hello test. 1 2 test GW0 KIG audio test 1 2 1 2 test 1 2 test hello test. Okay, so that's on the digital. We'll now try a shout out on Analogue FM, so we'll drop down to the FM zone there, you can see it. Okay. GW0KIG audio test 1 2 test hello test 1 2 test hello test 1 2 test hello. GW0KIG audio test 1 2 test hello test 1 2 test hello test 1 2 test hello. And I'll just flip back up to the digital side again, and we're going to send a quick text message. So we'll go to text messages in the menu, get one of our pre-saved texts, the one that just says location 3. I'll select that. That's okay. I'll send it, and I'll send it to the base station. And there it goes. Okay, so that concludes our test indoors anyway. Come on in, girl. Do our first analog test as we walk down the road. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 test 1 2 test 1 2 test hello 1 2 test 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 test 1 2 test 1 2 test hello 1 2 test. Okay, we're just at the top of the park here, so we'll try another shout on the AD20 on analog. Let's turn it on. Okay, location 1, Analogue FM test. Location 1. Okay, location 1, Analogue FM test. Location 1. We'll now flip to Digi mode. So on the remote end now we'll end up with a missed call on the screen for the rest of the test, but we can't really do anything about that. Okay, location 1, digital test, 1 2 3, digital test, location 1. Okay, location 1, digital test, 1 2 3, digital test, location 1. Okay, and what I'll also do now, I'll go to the text message. I'll go to quick text there, select that, and I'll send the location 1 text. And that's gone. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, so the AD20 here. What's the verdict? Well, hopefully you saw that on digital modes it sounded okay. Whatever mode it's transmitting comes across quite well. On analog, there is a strange high-pitched whine on FM transmitting. I've tried both of the radios. You heard in the test that I did. It was very audible on the one. It's the same on the other. It's not very good on FM. That's the bottom line there. On digital modes, it's fine. The texting works quite well. Works very well. I'm quite interested in that. It seems to have a lot of potential. I just used the quick text messages, but you could send a much longer message. Just type it out manually and send it. And yeah, I like that side of it. And the digital mode sounded quite clear. So if you wanted a couple of radios for private communication, they're probably quite good for that. If you're looking for a DMR radio, this is definitely not it. It's not DMR, despite what it says in the CPS. It won't work with anything DMR. It's not a good FM radio. So if you want these, you're going to want to use the digital side of it, be it the voice or the text. There's a few strange quirks with these radios. They do have airband receiver. I haven't tested that yet, but one of the problems with these, and I'll see if I can demonstrate the setting. I'll just go into the menu here, and let's go into radio setting. Okay, the squelch level, hopefully you can see it there. You've got 3 options on squelch. You haven't got an adjustable squelch as such. You've got 3 options. You've got open, normal, or tight. Those are your 3 options. What I find that means in practice is if you put an airband frequency in this radio, the squelch opens, I guess because the background noise increases, the squelch opens, it stays open, you can't do anything about it. So no adjustable squelch. I seem to remember when I first saw the advert for this radio that it's supposed to have the frequency sniffing capability, you know, where you can press a key and if there's a nearby transmitter it will lock onto the frequency. I don't know where that is on this radio, if such a thing does exist. I can't find it, but you know, maybe it does have that facility. The manuals are very little help with these, so you're pretty much on your own. The CPS, you've seen it, it's pretty awful. It's not intuitive in any way, and it's misleading, and then it says DMR. But nevertheless, okay, digital modes, yes, these seem to work quite well. The texting works as well, so that I guess that could be a useful facility for someone. Battery life, as I've said before, it's not great. It's not as good as most of the other Baofengs, but it's reasonable, it's usable. So that's the AD20, very odd radio. Still don't know what it's transmitting on digital, but the fact that we don't know that, we can't easily decode it, does make the radio useful in itself. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.